pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before the public comment period, we have something special.
Good evening, Madam President, Board of Education. Good evening, everyone. Today, sometimes we do things differently, and as you know, once a month we highlight our students. We call it Spotlighting Our Students, and we have we have one group of students that we're very proud of from John Jay High School that we will be highlighting and spotlighting tonight. But we're going to get started with one that's rather unique, and that he belongs to the Wappinger Central School District. And first, I'd like to recognize our Assistant Superintendent from Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES, who's here, Mr. John McCarthy. And we have one of our students that's going to be spotlighted this evening. But I would like to introduce and not take the spotlight away from Mr. Mike Soul, who's the principal of the Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES School. So with that said, I'd like him to come up to the stage and he can continue. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Well, thank you, Mr. Carrion. Thank you to your board for giving us the opportunity to work with one of your students, Eric Meyerback, and to have him recognized here publicly today. Without further ado, I'm going to actually have his teacher, Mr. Delgado, come up here and speak about Eric. Again, at BOCES, we honor our students, and we refer to them as students of distinction. We only give this award out to a small number. We have 1,500 students in our Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES. This year we'll be recognizing 20. So Eric is one of 20 of 1,500 students who are being recognized this year. So, Mr. Delgado, if you can come up.
Eric entered our program with a negative attitude towards school, especially his new placement. He did not want to be a student and adjusted struggling in the beginning of the year. Fast forward to the fourth quarter of this year, and although it hasn't been smooth sailing, the team at BOCES could not be more pleased with his progress. Eric has made friends, is an active participant throughout instructional time, and truly works hard to do his best. In the few years I have been a teacher, I have learned that each student can teach you something in return. This young man has showed me what true empathy is. This is a rare skill for a student his age, and even more so for someone like Eric. His willingness to help his peers or console staff members when he feels they might be hurt or sad is something we all can learn from. Although Eric deserves all the credit for the progress he has made, Eric would not be where he is without the willingness of his team to collaborate and problem solve. Dorian and Jean lead this team with evident compassion and understanding. It has been a pleasure to teach and learn from such a special young man. I look forward to continue watching Eric blossom into such an extraordinary individual. Thank you.
Congratulations to Eric and his family, whom I know have been a big part of this success. Okay, do you want to do that? All right, we have another spotlight on students now. Mr. Carrion.
Yes, I would like for Ms. Watkins to come to the microphone, or am I just going to introduce the Science Olympiad? So, oh, do we want to do that first? Okay, we can. I just thought we would take care of the students first. Okay. So, as you know, we've been praising our Science Olympiad team at John Jay Senior High School. We're very fond of them, and we are so proud of the work that they accomplished in this last round of competition. And with that said, I will hand the mic over to Ms. Watkins and she can continue.
Okay, thank you. So this evening we are very fortunate to have Mr. Herman here with his group of students, and they have brought with us one of the presentations that they did at the state competition. And we have some first place medal winners, and so we're really proud because this is the third year in a row that our team has had first place medals. So fantastic job for this team. So why don't we come up and you can show us what you are put together for us for this evening.
Okay, I've been coach for Science Olympiad at John Jay since 2002. We've kind of gotten in the habit. There's two levels of competition. There's the regionals that happens in February, which is the Hudson Valley, Mid-Hudson Valley. The top 4 teams go on to the states, and we've been fortunate that I think 10 out of the last 11 years we've gone. I just want to give a little extra thanks this year. We're kind of getting in the habit of going, and we thanks the support of the district. This year we were all set. We had our buses all set. We were going to go up on Friday, March 9th, I think it was, whatever that weekend was. So Thursday was kind of our last day, preparation. There was a snowstorm that was in the works, and so as the advisors, we were kind of thinking about it, and it's like, gee, what happens if it snows tomorrow? And while we were just kind of thinking about that and teaching through the day, Mr. Carrion, I believe, instigated and recognized that, gee, here's this field trip that's going out tomorrow, and they can't go if it snows tomorrow. That's the rules. So by the end of the day, he had talked to Mrs. King, called us all down, said, we're all set. We looked into it, and we're willing to send you up to Syracuse a day early if you can get all your 18 Science Olympians to agree. And this is Thursday around 2:30. We were talking about this. Talk to all your people and see if they can go tonight. We did. We were planning on leaving the next morning, but we talked to everybody. Everybody could go. They got a bus for us, got extra rooms for us up in Syracuse for an extra night, and 9 o'clock on Thursday night, before the snow came, off we went. And the next day was a snow day, so that worked out well for us because otherwise we would have missed the competition. So thanks for the support from the district to have the foresight to help us with that. The Science Olympiad has 25 events, all the way from knowledge events to build events. So teams of 2 will go in and they'll take a test on physics or chemistry or biology or astronomy. There's also build events where we have robot arms and electric vehicles, and we brought one of them tonight. So we're going to have a few of our participants show you one of the events, which is the helicopter event. So I think Crystal Wu and Sri are going to come up. Kumar is going to come up and start getting that ready. And I'm going to introduce John Jay's valedictorian and president of the Science Olympiad to talk to you as well. He did get a first place with Amy Jo. in anatomy and physiology. That's at the state level. There's about 500 teams, close to 500 teams statewide start this competition. The top 50 teams go to the states, and then there's these 25 events, and we did get a first place medal in anatomy and physiology. So I'm going to introduce Karthik Lindell to come talk. And,
hi everyone. So I'd like to thank the board and especially Mr. Carrion for providing us with funding, because like with that the snowstorm was just crazy, and like there has been like bad weather in the past, but like this was like particularly bad. So I'm really thankful that we got the chance to go to states, and that like our hard work throughout the year wasn't just like thrown away almost, even though it wouldn't have been, but you know. And also I'd like to just say like Science Olympiad, it's like Science Olympiad has meant so much to me when I was in high school. Like it's been basically the most important thing I did outside of school, other than like homework, I guess. And it's like it gives me it's a very nerdy club. Like it gives me an excuse to just like study like anatomy and physiology. Like I don't study like the intricacies of the brain or the heart or the skeletal system or any of that kind of stuff in school as much, but like because of Science Olympiad, I have like a goal and a motivation to like broaden my horizons a little, and like not only do I get to do that, like embrace my inner nerd, I get to I get to like be with this like awesome like team of like people, of great people, and like over the years we've become like a nice like family, and it's a really great bonding experience with people to like compete with them. So thank you very much for all your support.
Thank you.
So the helicopter event is rubber band powered lightweight vehicle. In this case, sometimes it's an airplane. This year, it was a helicopter. And the idea is to have this thing fly as long as possible. So, give credit to this team. It's a very fragile item. And during the state competition, while they were in competition, you have 8 minutes on the clock, and while they were winding it up, their helicopter main body broke. So because they knew the device so well, they went out, they got a spare body, the clock's running, the guy with the stopwatch is following them around. I was watching, I was nervous for him. They wound it up again, and they managed to get a flight off before they had 7 seconds left on the clock. It was like one of those, here comes we got to cut the red wire before the zero goes off. So we're going to watch the helicopter fly here.
It's supposed to stick up there as long as possible. There's a little wooden piece at the top that allows it to stay there, and then it's supposed to
Use the mic.
Use the mic over here. Okay, go ahead.
So at the top it's staying like that because there's a dime-sized piece, like a circle on top that's against the wall, and the goal is pretty much how long it could stay up there before it hits the ground. And some tasks we had to achieve, we had to make it as light as possible. So that I think was like the third one we built, because the first two we had to use a lot of glue, and glue adds excess weight. So this one we tried cutting down as much glue use as possible. But then we broke our best kit right before our launch, so we had to do like our second best, but we still got a launch, which is good. And then it comes down. It's supposed to come down slowly. And at the
The time in the air that that the competition was 1:30, and I don't know what that was. It was in that neighborhood. And they haven't run it since then. It's come out of the box. That's good. Just quickly to introduce we just had our elections for our officers for next year, so we can continue on. We have Gaurav, Joe, Josh, and Amy are our officers for next year. They're also here to support. And Crystal, I'm sorry, Crystal. Once again, thank you very much for making this year a success in doing the problem solving to get past that snowstorm. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. We have one more.
So one more spotlight, and this time we have a big kid that we're going to recognize. And someone I'm very fond of, very proud to be able to call my colleague. But I'm just going to start off, and I hope I say Dr. Manya Utana, his name correctly, but a letter came in saying, "Dear Mr. Carrion, the school name on the enclosed certificate has been identified as meeting all the criteria of beating the odds, building opportunities, study, and is thus in the top 16% of eligible schools. I am sending this certificate to you as I thought you may wish to present it to honor the work and commitment of the staff that made meeting this criteria possible, beating the odds, and building opportunities for economically disadvantaged students. As you may remember from our email and phone contact, I have been interviewing schools that meet these criteria in order to identify strategies and mindset to which they believe they owe their success. I will share the results of my studies with all New York State BOCES for distribution to their member districts and at a conference on June 8, 2017 at SUNY New Paltz. I wish you all the best in your continued leadership, Dr. Manya Utana." Is Dr. Manya here today? No, but in addition, so beating the odds, better outcomes. I'd like for Mr. James Daly to come up. So I'm going to read it. Better Outcomes certifies that Sheep Road Elementary School has been identified as a school that is boosting the achievement of economically disadvantaged students. Leadership and staff at the school are beating the odds and building opportunities for 2016-2017 school year. Congratulations, Mr. Daly, and congratulations to Sheep Road Elementary School. With that said, we have spotlighted 3 of our schools and 3 different groups of students and schools. Thank you for this opportunity, and I will hand it back so we can resume with our Board of Education meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Carrion. The next item on the agenda are public comments on agenda items. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes at the mic. The public comment period is a time slot set aside on the agenda for citizens to address the Board of Education. The Open Meetings Law does not require that citizens be allowed to participate and speak at Board of Education meetings other than public hearings. The law specifies that the public has a right to attend board meetings except for executive sessions. The procedure for public comment is outlined in Board Policy 1230, Citizen Participation. A total of 30 minutes is set aside for public comment at the beginning and end of the meeting. The maximum time allowed for any one speaker is 3 minutes. Public comments at the beginning of the meeting are limited to items on the agenda. Persons who wish to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting must state their name and the specific topic about which they wish to speak. As speakers must limit comments to issues appropriate for public discussion, compliments or complaints about student discipline, specific student issues, or personnel must not be addressed during public comment. Interruption of board discussion is not permitted. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, outbursts from the audience, applause, or other types of disturbances or disruptions are not permitted. Under no circumstances will booing be tolerated. The Board of Education recognizes its responsibility to hear and respond to public comment. As stated in Board Policy 1230, the Board is not able to answer questions at the meetings, but welcomes your statements. Any questions from the public should be submitted through the use of the public comment form, which may be obtained online or at the desk with the district clerk. Responses will be provided within 2 business days on the district's public comment responses page so that everyone may receive the information. Is there anyone who wishes to speak at this time? Okay. Seeing no one, 4.02, communications announcements received by the Board of Education. Mr. Galetta? Mr. Lumia?
I'd like to have a moment of silence for Sean Grogan, who recently passed away. He was a 2016 Royal Education graduate. Also, as a reminder, on April 30th, there's going to be the 11th Senior Citizen Prom at Royce Education High School from 12 to 4. Excuse me, Mr. What is it again? Senior Prom. It's called the Senior Prom, which is corrected. It'll be from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Food will be served. What was that again? So Senior Prom is going to be AM. That's it. Again, food will be served and entertainment will be provided. It's really quite an event. Please call to make reservations because.
Thank you. Mrs. Goodman.
I will leave the details to the chairman of the Communications Committee, but I do want to say that I attended its last meeting and I am really, really pleased and excited about the work that it has done in developing a basis for improving communication with district families and residents. So thank you for that.
Mr. Rubin.
Thank you. That, by the way, is a work in progress. It's still happening, and we have yet to put the finishing touches on it. So, and thank you for being here. What I'd like to also say is that I had the opportunity, as a representative of BOCES, to attend the Dutchess County School Board's last meeting, of which one of the things that they handed out was their annual budget, and I've asked our clerk, Mrs. Alberta Pedro, to please make copies of that. The board should have, I would hope, would have that in their packet. So there was their budget, the Dutchess County School Board budget is in your packet for your review. I also had the opportunity, along with another, Ms. Kellen was there, I think Karen was there, to attend the valedictorian, salutatorian top 10 celebration at RCK, and I'm very pleased to have been there to help these kids celebrate. We have a lot of great kids in this district, not just from that one school, but district-wide. And last thing I'd like to mention, a number of us who attended the APPR seminar, not seminar, but review input at the Dutchess BOCES several months ago. I hope that everybody else has received. I've received an email sent to dear stakeholder thanking for us for our participation. Mr. Pedro, I'll give that to you afterwards. It was from the commissioner. Thank you.
Mr. Munasami.
I just want to let you know, guys, I mean, it's very happy to see that some of our kids are excelling in science and technology and STEAM, arts, and I just witnessed the talents. And I wish them best, and whichever the colleges they're going to attend, and I'm sure they will do very well in the future. And the credit goes to not only to the students, but also to the teachers and the parents as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sloshower.
Just want to continue with the acknowledgments of our 3 different students or 3 different parts of our spotlight. The work that the students are doing is fantastic. I hope that all of you continue once you leave the district and as you pursue whatever you're going to pursue in college and future endeavors. Congratulations also to Mr. Daly and the job that he's doing over at Chief, and to our students that do participate in the BOCES programs. Those are things that are very important to the district, and it gives all types of students the ability and the areas to exceed their own personal goals and challenges. So I want to commend everybody. Thank you.
Mrs. Karat.
Yes, I'd like to continue with congratulations to our John Jay and Royce Ketchum students. Last week, many of you, of course, probably know that the Poughkeepsie Journal did announce their All-Stars. And I would quickly like to go through the sports. The amount of time these students have devoted to their studies as well as their sports are quite a lot of time and devotion, and it goes without saying that they have represented our schools very well. For basketball, I believe these are all Royce Ketchum students. The girls' first team in basketball were made by sophomore Katie Wall and senior Jakala Elting. And the boys' first team, Zahir Woody, is a senior at Royce K, and he made it as well. There were honorable mentions on both boys and girls, Jordan Castanis and Jada Rensher. And for the boys, David Henry, Jahiri Mosley, and Daryl Sullivan. For wrestling, we know our wrestler of the year was from John Jay, senior Randy Earl. First team was made by freshman John Jay, freshman Tyler Albus, and senior from Royce Ketchum, Isaac Matthews. We had honorable mentions from John Jay, Max Barbaran, Marcelo Bernasconi, Brendan Cullen, Stephen Dixon, Javon Hines, Jack Ninos, Derek White. And from Royce Ketchum, we had Brendan Carroll, Joe Consulo, James Coots, Emilio Vera, Liam Wilson, and Riley Wilson. And Coach of the Year was Jamie Weaver from John Jay. For track, girls track, we had John Jay senior Kiara Young on the first team and Royce Ketchum sophomore Taylor Young. We had honorable mentions at John Jay, Stephanie Ertel, Janelle Humphreys, Bella Kaiser, Julia Newman, Kelly Radigan, Elizabeth Urbanowitz, and Elena Vargas. And from Royce Ketchum, we had Amani Arthur, Arya Luoa, Odiani, Rachel Sickler, Melanie Sussman, and Emma Warner. We had our Gymnast of the Year for the Wappingers team, Olivia Frederick, who is a junior. And we had on the first team Jessica Healy, who is a 9th grader, and Zoe Marku, who is an 11th grader. The honorable mentions from Wappingers were Shailene Sura, Carrie Vidulich. For the swim team, we had Thomas McCaffrey from Wappingers, grade 11. This is the boys swim team, and Chauncey Nicholas, a junior as well. And honorable mentions were Alex Chan, Kyle McGregor, Matt McGregor, Jonathan Nunes, and Jared Rizzi, Adrian Smith. And I think I'll leave the track teams for next meeting. Congratulations to all.
I attended the Capital Improvement Committee meeting and the Communications Committee, both which do great work, and I will leave the details to their chairs when they give committee reports. I also went to the senior lunch at Van Wyck, like the senior prom. This is a wonderful special school, individual school celebration and for our senior citizens, and it was quite enjoyable. I attended IBM Engineer Day at Fishkill Plains and the open houses at Gayhead, Sheep, and Fishkill schools. What with the snowstorm and multiple scheduling, I haven't been able to get to as many open houses as I wanted to this year, but that makes 6 so far. So if I missed you, I'll try to get you in next year. It's wonderful to see all the different work that the students have been doing, and we don't just prepare for tests. We do a lot of other interesting, exciting projects, as you saw at the upper levels, but in the lower grades we do also. Congratulations to Mr. Daly. My husband and I both worked at Chief Road School, and we couldn't be prouder of you, your faculty, staff, students, and parents who create a wonderful community and with lots of success. I also was with at the Val Sal 10 Top Students celebration at Royce E. Ketchum, and I'd like to read their names. Excuse me if I mispronounce any of them. Indira Kulkarni, Raisa Bahani, Melanie Sussman, Ethan Andriola, Ryan Hawks, Taskinuddin Forkan, Raima Patel, Anna Sajan, Esther Behan, Ashley O'Toole. Congratulations. Mr. Rubin pointed out the cookies were good too. That's the one perk you get of being on the school board. We get to sample all these delicious things at different school events. Yes. We have a lot of good cooks in this district. All right, next, 4.03, committee reports and board representatives. Capital Improvement Committee, chaired by Mr. Lumia.
First, I'd like to thank fellow board members, Mr. Schleichauer, Mr. Rubin, of course, Ms. Pelley, Peggy Keller for being present, along with community members Jen Oppenheimer, Maureen Primrose, of course, Mr. Brose, and Antoinette St. George, and Felix Zemke. First of all, the phase one bids were received. The bids were below budget. The contract has been awarded, and sports field work at 2 high schools. Side paving at 5 elementary schools will take place. Electrical work at sports fields, window replacement at Wabash Junior High School, flooring and ceiling work. Preparation for Phase 2 projects will begin shortly. Finalization of Phase 2 project with the scope will be determined shortly. The capital project will soon start. One of them will soon start with April 25th as construction starts at the football fields. The district bond act projects, the district-wide vestibules, construction documents have been completed and are being compiled for submission to the New York State Education Department. New vestibules are planned for 13 of the 14 schools. The New York State Department of Education will review them. It's not anticipated to be completed in time to start the work this summer. District-wide air conditioning for the server. The district assigned pending district input. Other projects, the district-wide carbon monoxide detectors are being worked on, and it's finished actually. John Jay water and sewer system improvements, the design is almost 95% complete. The RCK press box and concession stand is being worked on. The 2013 capital improvement project finally done. What else? A few other things. We discussed the air quality at John Jay regarding the air quality at the guidance office, and this problem has been existing since 1996. Cleaning has been taking place. That Mr. Brose is on top of it. We're waiting for results from the state to tell us exactly what has to be done, and whatever has to be done will be done to correct the problem. Some of the other things that I think it's worth noting is that the district is addressing lead issues. Valve faucets will remain closed until tests pass. The facility in operation installing 46 water fountain bottle filters with filters district-wide. The machines have warning lights when the filters need to be changed. Braille signs are being installed. Playground improvement, the Sheaf Road, Vassar Road, and Kidney Road, and Fishgate Plains will take place. Remodeling of the food service is being completed. We'll start working at the John Jay Cafeteria. The gym floors are being redone at Royce Ketchup, Van Wyck, and Wamba Junior High. New lockers are being installed at John Jay High School, Royce Ketchup High School, Van Wyck, and Wamba Junior High. New boys gym lockers at Van Wyck and John Jay High School. New bleachers at Wamba Junior High School. There are many other things which can be made an announcement of, but I suggest you look at our site, the website, and see exactly what's being done. Our next Capital Improvement Committee meeting will be the first Wednesday of the month. Please come, and if you have any issues, come and bring to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Communications Committee, chaired by Mr. Rubin.
Thank you. I would say that we had a very good meeting at RCK High School. It was at 6 o'clock in the evening, and as a result of that meeting, the committee authorized myself. I met with Mrs. Watkins and Mr. Lokema. We were going to, this is a work in progress. We've had some recommendations, a plan, a formulation that we are working on, and we're going to report back further on that once we see what the final thing looks like, talk with the appropriate people within the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Dutchess County School Boards Association, we're represented by Mr. Galetta.
I'd like to thank Mr. Rubin for reporting on the last meeting I was unable to attend. The next meeting is May 4th, and the few past meetings, they've been kind of brainstorming as to what topics they want to talk about towards the end of the year. I don't know what they've decided on, so when I find out, I'll email you and let you know.
Yes, Mr. Rubin.
Actually, one of the things that they talked about at that meeting was something that we in our communications committee talked about, and we had Mr. Stu Shinsky, talk to us. They talked about effective communications by the organization using various different media outlets. Mr. Shinsky will be coming to talk with them if they can arrange it at their annual meeting, which is not open to the public, as I just found out, which is a dinner meeting that will be held, I believe, in June at the Poughkeepsie High School.
There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Rubin.
Thank you.
You're invited, though.
The next audit committee meeting is going to be here at the junior high, right before our next board meeting next Tuesday. We're going to review the draft corrective action plan for the agreed upon procedures for the high school yearbook clubs at the high schools, review the draft corrective action plan for our internal risk assessment. We're going to meet with our external auditor as well as review our internal auditor's contract. Thank you.
Thank you. And you notice the Wapager School Board is very fortunate in that we have two representatives to the Dutchess County School Boards Association, our own from our board, which is Mr. Galetta, and the BOCES board representative, which is Mr. Rubin. So it's great that somebody is there. We don't miss any information. Thank you, both of you. Okay. Long-Term Development Committee, chaired by Mr. Lokema.
Good evening, thank you. On March 30th, the Long-Term Development Committee met. It was small attendance. We did have Mrs. Kellen and Mr. Rubin in attendance with us. Mrs. Watkins and I presented on the pros and cons and actually just some unbiased details about an international baccalaureate program as a possible recommendation to be included in our plan. Mr. Shoutman provided us with the development with his roadmap to development of a 5-year strategic plan for our library media centers.
Thank you. 5.01 Superintendent's Report.
Good evening. Good evening again, and we basically started the meeting with the superintendent's report, but I have one more shout out to make, and for all of my seniors that are here, and I know that some of you who sit around this dais and this stage twice a month listen to what I share with the seniors of the Wappinger Central School District. Raise your hand. How many seniors do we have? Awesome. We're very proud of you. Shortly in June, just 2 more months, you will be walking on stage and you will be receiving a high school diploma. This is a great time in your life. You have 2 more months to go. Make it the best, and the way to make it the best is to be the best that you can be. Stay safe, follow the rules, and don't do anything to disrupt all the great opportunities and events that are soon coming your way. So once again, congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you walk on stage and shake your hand and congratulate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carrion. Since we already did 5.02, the spotlight on program earlier, we're now going to move on to 6.01, the 2017-2018 Superintendent's Recommended Budget Presentation.
Yeah, we have some chairs that swivel. Once again, good evening. Before I get started, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank every staff member that is here. We have some teachers. We always have Ms. V, and we always look forward to seeing her, as well as some support staff. And I'd like to make a special shout out to our team and what I call my colleagues, and the ones that are out there always with the students. And we can't do this job. The Board of Education can't be as prosperous without the members, my colleagues that I'm so proud of, and the work that they do and the commitment that they have to our students and our families. And in order for us to carry out a great balanced budget on a yearly basis, we need to have the quality administration that you see sitting on the left of the auditorium. And just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you, and you rock. I'm just gonna, you really mean a lot to this community, to the district, and to the students, and your commitment is amazing. So thank you for being here. With that said, which is why we're going to segue into Superintendent's Recommended Budget, the presentation, April 18, 2017. This is the final presentation of the Superintendent's Recommended Budget. Prior to this, we have gone through the budget, and am I going to? Okay, so here we go. On April 7, 2017, the district received final information about the 2017-18 state aid. The 2017-2018 marks the first late budget from New York State in over 6 years. What does this mean for the Wappinger Central School District? So during 2017-18, when we were providing the Board of Education on a bi-weekly basis, more or less, the budget, the governor's proposal was at $56,542,349. As of for 2018-2019 enacted budget, the what we see here is $56,916,336. The additional New York State aid for the Wappinger Central School District is $373,987. Excuse me. I apologize. Yes. Yes. Okay. That's what threw me off, but I don't know how many times we looked at this. But proposed additions for March 13, 2017 presentation. This is a follow-up. So we started off with the first preliminary budget, and after that, as you can see, we created the charts that really provided we were pending state aid. So when we look at BOCES, what we are really proud to indicate is that once the district started facing fiscal crisis, we started reducing the number of career technical instruction seats for students, and now we are back to the full restoration of slots from previous years and cuts, so we're adding an additional 10 slots, which is $51,800. I believe that's 5 slots.
That's 5 slots.
Altogether, in addition now, we are at 10 slots. The BOCES regular instruction, additional summer scholars program. I didn't realize that the school district had stopped participating in the summer scholars program, and what we did here, we bought an additional 6 slots for our high school students to be able to apply for the additional summer scholars program, which will, as of tomorrow, if we have a successful budget, Dr. Cardwell will be posting the Summer Scholars Program on our website so that the public can see what it's all about, and the high school administrators will be able to announce this information to their students so that they can meet the deadline and apply for the Summer Scholars Program this summer. In terms of personnel, teaching assistants at the elementary level, and I share with the board that there's really a difference between equity and equality, and many times we have to try to balance both, but it's important that we have equity amongst all of our elementary schools. So what we're looking at is to provide our elementary schools with a much more viable instructional program that they can carry out in their schools. Right now, for example, we have 5 teaching assistants that they share in order to provide computer instruction assistance in their schools. We're looking to see how we can make sure that each school has their own computer instruction teaching assistant. We're also looking to create a formula where there is assistance to help in the kindergarten, as well as how they would provide AIS instruction. This would get us an additional 5 teaching assistants, and as you know, in the preliminary budget, there were 4 teaching assistants that will also be impacted, so we're looking at 9 teaching assistants that will have tremendous impact for our students at the elementary level. Instructional teaching salaries, we're looking at the high school level for an additional E&L teacher. The E&L teacher, as you know, in the last 2 years, just in the last 2 years, our E&L population has increased by 58%. At one point when we had a conversation and the state required the different mandates for E&L students, we hired an additional 3.2 E&L teachers. We had approximately, I would say, about 27 students, maybe 13 and 14, almost 50% split between John Jay and Royce Ketchum. At this point, they are at 60 students. And with the mandates required, and really looking at that, we had to make some drastic changes at the last hour to ensure that our students get the quality instruction that they deserve, and that our high school teachers are able to work in collaboration with the E&L teachers in a way that they can provide the instruction necessary. Thank you, Kristen. You know me all too well. As you can see, and now we're going to break it down, materials and resources. We are back up to 30,500. We are looking at science and AIS math resources. We already included into the budget additional spending to increase the number of non-fiction books in classroom libraries, specifically related to science. And in addition to that, there is $20,000, so there's $20,000 that will be going into the AIS math resources for teachers, K through 8, and in terms of science classroom libraries, providing an additional $10,500 for classroom science libraries at the elementary level. So it goes along with what Mr. Munasami was indicating, that we want to continue to see our students. We have to start really setting that foundation at a very young age. And maintenance of plant, general construction supplies. There's no secret when we started this work, and thank you, Mr. Bross, and everyone in the district, but we have been extremely aggressive in the last 3 years, really trying to make significant improvements in the district. And we still have about $80 million worth of work. So we looked and we said, let's take these $23,821 and continue to look at ceilings that are dropping, continue to look at paint jobs that need to continue to occur in some of our school buildings. We have to continue to make our schools look beautiful for all of our students and staff. Additional New York State aid. So here we go. The breakdown is, as you see, we received an additional $373,987. So as far as Duchess BOCES, we're looking a little over $67,000. Personnel, a little over $250,000, and materials and resources, $54,321. As you know, we started creating this pie chart to indicate the entire breakdown of our superintendent's recommended budget. So here we go for the last time. Tax levy, 2016, 2017, the approved tax levy was, as you can see, $159,426,539. The proposed tax levy was $160,936,353. The levy to levy, as you can see there, the increase is $1,509,814, and the levy to levy percent increase is just slightly under 1%. The lowest increase in the entire county, I believe, at this point. With that said, when we look at it from a budget, a dollar to dollar standpoint, our approved budget for the 2016-17 school year was $221,199,261. For the 2017-18 proposed budget, it is now $225,181,606. Budget to budget, we're looking at $3,982,345. Budget to budget increase, we're looking at 1.80%. No, please, no, I'm kidding. Of course you can.
The only thing I would like to share, Jose, if you could go back one slide, is that when the additional aid came in from New York State, it did not impact the tax levy calculation. So the tax levy increase remains at 0.95%, meaning that even though there was additional aid that came into the district, and we as an administration have increased our budget to reflect that, it has no impact on the taxpayers. The levy to levy increase remains the same because this increase is fully funded by New York State dollars.
Thank you for making that clarification. That was a conversation I had going down the hill, driving outside of the country just over a week ago. Proposed budget summary, as you can see here, this is a spreadsheet of everything we just talked about. In addition to that, documents to support the superintendent's budget, proposed budget. We have the budget line item detailed spreadsheet, Navigating Our Way, which is the new document that we will be revising each year. The strategic plan, the curriculum and instruction, proposed summer writing curriculum, which that's really exciting, with a lot of science writing curriculum involved, Tri-State Consortium report, and the special education preliminary annual report. When you go onto the website, or even for my April newsletter, if you haven't had the opportunity to read my monthly newsletter, on the monthly newsletter, you can click on any of these items and it will take you directly to those documents so that you can review them, and you can see that there is a correlation to the work that we're doing and the proposed budget that we're presenting tonight to the Board of Education. The budget process continues. It'll never stop. We continue to answer questions. We provide comments and feedback. Presentations and reports will be posted to the Board of Education section of website. FAQs posted to the website within 48 hours. Use long-term plan to develop discussion points. Continue work on refining estimates and confirming data, and evaluate BOE feedback for use in budget formulation. So I'd like to take this opportunity. I know that I thanked my colleagues tremendously, and I tell you that the work that they do is priceless. But I'd like to thank the Board of Education, our president, our vice president, and all of our Board of Education members that have done their due diligence since we started this process in the fall, and we continue to remain in constant communication, be transparent, and providing consistent presentations regarding the budget. And all of your questions that you have asked, we have been able to answer and provide you with detailed responses. So with a successful budget, we will begin our roadshow this Friday, and we will start at Sheaf Road Elementary School. And you're always welcome to come and see our presentations, and some of you do actually go on the roadshow with us. I just took on the roadshow from the former Superintendent Pocantesta, and it's thick, so we still call it the roadshow. Should we go to the contingency budget? Yes.
Hang on. 6.02, adoption of the proposed 2017-2018 budget.
Rob wasn't aware.
Do you want me to read the resolve?
Just read it.
I'll read it. Okay. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wapager Central School District does hereby approve the adoption of the proposed 2017-2018 school year budget in the amount of $225,181,606 to be presented to the district's voters as proposition number 1. The annual meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 16, 2017, at various poll sites between the hours of 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. Please note the board member election will also be held on Tuesday, May 16, 2017. Do we have a motion? Mr. Lumia. Second, Mr. Galetta. Discussion. Mrs. Goodman.
I have worked in another school district for 20 years under a number of different superintendents. I have never, repeat, never seen a budget as student-centered as this one. I think it's really, really important for the taxpayers to know that their money is being spent directly on student achievement and student welfare for all ranges of students, from vocational ed to STEAM ed to career and tech ed, from elementary all the way up to the secondary level. You're talking about really nitty-gritty stuff like the quality of computer instruction, class sizes, the presence of teaching assistants teaching literacy in the primary grades, which is so important. First of all, I thought that a lot of the ideas in the application of money was very careful, was very targeted, and I have to commend not just the superintendent, but the entire central administration and all of the members of the buildings who work together to come up with something that is so good for the students of Wappingers. I really think taxpayers should know that we are taking their concerns very seriously and making sure that money is not wasted, but that it is going to our students.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments? Mr. Rubin.
Mrs. Goodman, ditto. Okay. But I would like to also say that I continue to be impressed with the central office staff over the years as I work with them. They show extreme ability, far beyond what I would think is humanly capable. And this year, I want to just make a special note to Mr. Zip, because in discussions that he and I have had, I am just impressed that, as an example, he's pursuing things with our relationship with Duchess BOCES. We pay for slots there, and that we have students who we have paid for, that they're going, and then all of a sudden, for one reason or another, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, that they no longer attend those. If it's at all timely and possible, he's making sure that we get our dollars, our money's worth out of that by trying to arrange for other students to fill those slots. So kudos to the staff and to whoever he is, Mr. Zip, there he is, for that, and I hope that continues. Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay. I have a couple. First of all, Mr. Carrion knows I ask for details on any addition to the budget because I'm a very thrifty type person. But every one of these additions that he has made have been thoughtful and directed completely toward the students. The occupational slots and the CTI slots at BOCES are something we're all talking about the importance of technical education and providing this for students who have a definite career goal and would like to get right to it and not spend so much time in general education. And this is quality education, and we want to make it available to any student who wants it. The addition of summer scholars, I didn't know we weren't doing it either until it was brought to our attention. And I'll say, as the parent of a son who participated in it years ago when he went to Ketchum, it's an absolutely terrific program. It's a taste of college ahead of time. And he went to Bard and learned some Arabic, and it was plus a lot of other things. So I think it's great for every student who's able to do it, and I recommend applying for it if you have any interest at all. The extra teaching assistants, Mr. Carrion explained exactly how they're going to be utilized. He doesn't add positions unless he has specific duties and for an educational goal. And it's very nice to see. Some of you may have been a little confused by ENL. It used to be called ESL, so now it's English as a new language instead of English as a second language. And Mr. Carrion didn't mention it, but not only do we have many more students who need this instruction, but many of them are coming to us now at high school age rather than elementary. So of course it's a lot harder to catch up on a language when you're already in high school than when you're young. So thank you very much for everything and your good work, and I certainly hope everybody will be able to approve and see the budget and attend some of his detailed presentations. Thank you. Anyone else? All right.
What I can tell you is that Oak Grove always has a great spread for their presentation. if you want to pick, you'll get a good spread there.
No pressure on Oak Grove.
Ask Mr. Lumia.
Mr. Carrion, no pressure on
No,
Oak
it's
Grove?
no pressure. It's just that I'd like to see those mini sliders go and everything else that they put out for us.
You're challenging the PTAs, right? You're all doing a great job, believe me. Our PTAs have only gotten better over the years.
It was not about Oak Grove. It was more meant for some of the board members who.
Yes, I know. My grandson goes to Oak Grove, so yeah. We're looking forward to the ice cream social next week. That's always a great one. All right. All those in favor? Unanimous. It's good we're able to laugh during a budget presentation, I must say.
Thank you.
6.03, 2017-2018 contingency budget presentation.
Yes, the contingency budget, as you know, is defined by the Board of Education, should be those essential to maintain an educational program, preserve property, and ensure the health and safety of students and staff. Only contingent expenditures are permitted. We have to be able to approve a contingency budget in terms of the number, the total reductions, which is $1,509,814. With that said, I'm going to click over to the next page because we provided the board already with a preliminary contingency budget. I'm extremely data oriented, we're extremely data oriented, and that's the kind of culture that we keep pushing because data provides solid information. So once again, we removed the 2014-15 school year in terms of the columns and what the contingency budget looked like 4 years ago, and now we're looking at a 3-year trend. The one thing that must be removed immediately from a budget is equipment, and as you can see, that number is there, that item number is there. And what we did was we tried to shave off different areas without really reducing completely from any one piece of the budget. Although we listed these items and you have seen these items already, this amount adds up to that $1,509,814. With that said, I'm going to have Ms. Crandall speak a little extra on the contingency budget, if there's anything else that you would like to add. You could definitely add a sentence or two, but we are optimistic of this budget, and when a budget fails, it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to go directly to a contingency budget. The board would have the opportunity to have that conversation. We're just approving the amount of $1,509,814. And what's great, and when you look at, I'll take it all the way to the third page. 3 years ago, we had a contingency budget of over $2 million that we would have to reduce from the budget. Last year alone, we were looking at over $3 million, and right now we're looking at 1.5. And that is great, and we consistently show the evidence and the data of how we continue to do our work and build our budget. Yes, Ms. Crandall.
I would just like to add, with regard to the reductions as suggested for the 17-18 contingency, all of the increases that had been proposed to the board have been included. So any of those new items would be removed, and then we did have to make some cuts in some other areas in order to be able to get to that 1.5 million. Again, with the addition of that aid from New York State, the total amount for the contingent budget did not change because it was not related to the tax cap, because tax cap legislation has now changed the law, whereas the contingency is capped at the prior year's tax levy. So that's why it remained at $1,509,814 as the cut.
Thank you.
All right. 6.04, wait a minute. 6.04, adoption of the 2017-2018 contingency budget.
ask for some lights up here so I can read?
Can we get some lights?
Thank you. I was going to put my. Oh, thank you, Ms. McCarthy. Oh, now I can't see. No. May I?
Yes.
6.04. Be it resolved that in the event pursuant. Be it resolved that in the event pursuant to New York State education law that the Wappinger Central School District needs to adopt a contingency budget for 2017-2018 school year. The Board of Education anticipates that the contingency budget amount would be $223,297,805, which is 0.67% less than Proposition Number 1 as presented to the voters. The contingency budget would be $1,509,814 less than the 2017-2018 operating budget as presented to the voters, and budgetary cuts would be necessary and approved by the Board of Education. If the contingency budget becomes necessary, it will be subject to final adoption by the Board of Education.
Do we have a motion? Mrs. Karatz, second. Mrs. Goodman, discussion. Okay. Seeing none, all those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
6.05, approval of the school property tax report card for 2017-2018.
Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District does hereby approve the adoption of the school property tax report card for 2017-2018 as stated.
Do we have a motion? Mr. Lumia, second. Mr. Sloshower, discussion. Mr. Sloshower.
Ms. Crandall, if you wouldn't mind just for a moment, just to explain to the public and the taxpayers exactly what this entails, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Certainly. The property tax report card is a required filing with New York State. It has to be filed with New York State, both via the SAMS portal, which is the state's portal, as well as via email within 24 hours of it being approved by the Board of Education. This information included in the property tax report card includes the current budget, it includes enrollment, it includes CPI, it includes fund balance assumptions. This information will be, if approved at this moment, will be sent to the state within 45 seconds of you approving it because they have it all set to go. It also is required to be included in the budget books that will be distributed around the community for public review and inspection.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? Unanimous. Is there anyone who wishes to remove anything from the consent agenda? Okay. 7.01, consent agenda resolution.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated: 7.02, 7.03, 7.04, 7.05, 7.06, 7.07, 7.08, 7.09, 7.10, 7.11, and 7.12.
Do we have a motion? Mrs. Karatz, second. Mr. Lumia, all those in favor? Unanimous. 8.01, second reading of policy 4730. Mr. Lumia. I think we have to get to a motion first. Okay.
Yeah. 8.01. Resolved that the Board of Education of the Wappinger Central School District hereby approves the second reading of and adopts policy 4730, homework, based upon the first reading by the board and the recommendation of the policy committee as stated.
No, you have to make a motion and then discussion. All right, could we have a motion, please? Mr. Lumia. Second, Mr. Sloshower. Discussion.
I would like to make a motion to table this particular second reading until the policy committee meets with the teachers, as well as Dr. Bach and Dr. Carwell. When that happens, we'll come back and report on the actual policy.
Okay. Second, Mr. Sloshower. All those in favor?
And I would like to make a discussion on that.
Oh, wait a minute, Mr. Rubin, you wish to discuss the tabling?
Just to make a comment, I would like to say that I think that what we've seen so far reflects a lot of work, that there's two types of things that are reflected here. There's policy, and there's things which is at a board level, and there's, what is it called, with the administration?
Regulations.
Regulations, okay. And the regulations are what the administration formulates to affect that policy, as I understand it. So, which the board does not have any input on. And I think that, I personally believe that what we have seen so far at the policy is reflective of a lot of work, and I believe that that would merit the board taking action at this point. However, if the board believes that this should be postponed for, Mr. Lumia, maybe a month?
Postpone until we have a meeting.
Okay.
That takes place.
I am willing to go with that, but I just want to say that I believe in what's been put forth so far. Thank you.
Okay. Did we have a second for the motion to table? Yes, Mr. Carrion.
Yeah, I just want to also add that on Wednesday we have our principals meetings, and it goes without say that they're very instrumental in terms of looking at regulation and what it would mean to develop a regulation that's pro-student, student-centered as we move forward to develop this homework policy.
Yeah, I think we need the second for the motion to table, Mr. Sloshower. I'd just like to say, as a teacher, as former teacher myself, I think what we're looking at with this policy is we're trying to find the right balance between a philosophy about homework and the necessary flexibility, because every class, every student, every teacher is different, and every subject is different, and there are many variations which we don't want to interfere with the instructional component of the district, which is the job of the administration and the faculty. So we have to examine this more thoroughly. Yes, Mr. Rubin.
Thank you. Whatever we finally put forth, it will be adopted. Whatever's finally put forth is one that's adopted by the district, by the Board of Education. However, we've had our policies under review by New York State School Boards Association, and I would just hope that whatever we finally put forth, that if they make a comment, that comment comes back to us and we seriously at least discuss what any comments that they may propose to us. I would hope. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mrs. Goodman.
I would just like to add that I'm really glad that we are getting more teacher input into this policy. I think the more teacher input about a subject that really is right in that individual teacher's classroom, the better off everybody is, including the students, or especially the students.
Okay, Mr. Sloshower.
We take recommendations from NYSBA for guidance. This is our school district. These are our students. These are our kids. This is our faculty. I believe we have the knowledge within this district to come up with something that makes sense and is fair. We make the final decision, not any other entity. So I just want everyone to be clear that just because we look to NYSBA and outside sources for guidance, which is very helpful, ultimately the decision is with this board, with Mr. Carrion, with the administrators, with the teachers, and so forth.
Thank you. Mr. Lumia.
I have to concur with everything that Mr. Sloshower stated. It is our district. We make the policy. The rest of the superintendent and staff will make the, what do you call it, the regulation. But as far as I'm concerned, teachers' involvement on this issue is very critical. And unless that takes place, the policy will not take place. So, and I think we made a resolution last time we were here that teachers were going to be involved. And unfortunately, things did not turn out the way it's supposed to do, but teachers are being put. We're going to have teachers from Olds Elementary, both from the south and the north, junior high, south and north, high school, south, north, and south. It is, they are being affected as well as students. I think it's very important that a policy is put in place that makes sense and is beneficial. Once that policy is put in place, then the regulation, of course, will follow. Until such time, be patient, and it'll be put forth.
Yes, this has gone back to committee. What is this, the 4th time this year? So obviously, it needs work, and it needs to be looked at thoroughly. Yes, Mr. Rubin.
I concur with both of you. However, we, this board, take input from a number of sources in which we use that information in order to formulate and take a final vote. NYSBA is one of those, and one of those things that NYSBA has an expertise in providing to us for our consideration, and that's why I just mentioned this, as to whether or not any of the fine legalities that may be involved here. I don't know if there are any, so please don't hold me to the fact that to whether or not, I'm not saying that there are, but NYSBA is a source that we have elected to use to provide comment to us for us to make our final decision. And with that being said, that we're going to vote on this, and I believe it's going to be voted to be held up, postponed for a while. But I would hope that we seriously continue to consider NYSBA's comments on this as we move forward in implementing not just this policy, but all of our policies.
Any other comments or questions? All right, all those in favor of tabling? Unanimous. 9.01. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Seeing none. 10.01. Comments from the public. Is there anyone who wishes to speak at this time? At this time, you may speak on any item, even if it's not on the agenda, as long as it relates to the business of the school district. Right? Seeing no one, do we have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Lumia. Second. Second, Mrs. Karan. All those in favor?
No discussion.
Unanimous.